Wonderful. So my name is Elise Rudolph. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Director of Online Recruitment and Admissions with our online MPH program. And Stephanie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I am Stephanie Nguyen. Pronouns are she, hers, and I am the Online Education Recruitment Manager. Together, we make the Tiny But Mighty admissions team. We support our students by helping you learn more about the program, providing guidance throughout the application process. We host advising hours as well. So really happy to have you on this call. And without further ado, I'm really excited to welcome our wonderful student. So I'm going to hit the next slide. I'm ecstatic to welcome our incredible second year student, Marcela Mobari. Marcela Mobari is a first generation Latina immigrant, a doctor of dental surgery, and an MPH student hailing from Nicaragua. She is also an exemplary picture of what our program hopes to uplift, a change maker whose aspirations are centered around improving the health of the Latinx community and empowering the next generation of Latinx healthcare providers. So with a dual background in clinical and non-clinical healthcare, Marcela brings experience addressing social determinants of health through community engagement, culturally responsive care, and advocacy that strengthens system of care. Furthermore, she is especially committed to advancing equitable health opportunities by fostering inclusive partnerships and championing education as a social key determinant of health. She's our interdisciplinary MPH student, an ambassador of our program, and just an overall incredible human being. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Marcela, and if you'd like to say anything, this is your time to shine.
Hi, thank you so much, Stephanie, for the generous introduction. And it's a pleasure to be here with all of you and meeting you. And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Marcella. We're so excited to have you on, and Marcella is going to add some additional insights throughout our presentation as well from kind of the student and former applicant perspective. So we're really grateful to have you here and really grateful for the insights that you're going to share. Um, as I mentioned, we're going to give a formal presentation to kick things off. So we'll talk about, who we are, our mission and vision as part of the online MPH program. We'll talk about the importance of your statement, the value that it adds to your application. Then we'll dive into really dissecting the personal history statement and the statement of purpose, what makes them different, and how to write compelling essays. We'll talk about some themes and give some examples and leave you with some key takeaways before we go into Q&A. So here at Berkeley Public Health, our mission is healthy people locally and globally. We want to extend Berkeley's reach to improve population health, especially for the most vulnerable, and provide tools to address pressing public health challenges. So essentially what I like to share here is that we are one of UC Berkeley's or actually I think we are the first online program at UC Berkeley. So we've been doing this for a long time. And really the goal was that we don't believe that everyone necessarily needs to relocate to the Bay Area to have access to a top tier UC Berkeley education. We want folks who are practicing public health in their communities and making that impact in real time. We wanted this education to be accessible to folks who are working full time because we know you're already making an impact through the work that you're doing. Offering this program in an online modality really is, it's part of our mission. It's very much a values aligned choice that Berkeley Public Health made. And yeah, we can talk about our values. So our values are service in community, showing up with authenticity, growth, growth rooted in justice and equity, cultivating connection through learning, and centering wellness. I think our program does a really good job of seeing our students as whole people. We understand that our students have a lot going on outside of just school. Most of our students, as I said, are working full time. They might have caregiving responsibilities, things like that. And so we want to ensure that that you yourself are well and that you're able to show up fully in the program. And so we have a really incredible student support team, and our faculty also, I think, generally really care about our students and your well-being. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the value of your statement. So essentially, what is your, we ask you to write these 2 essays. We know a lot of programs only ask you to write one. Why do we have two? And, you know, what is this adding to your application? So your personal history statement allows our committee to see you not just for your academic qualities, but as a whole individual. This is an opportunity for you to tell the admissions committee your story in your own words. So it really is valuable real estate in terms of like how you think about your whole application. So many other parts of your application are fixed, right? They're, your transcripts, they are what they are. Your resume, it's just a binary reflection of the work that you've done. But your essay is your opportunity to use your own words to tell us who you are, why public health, how you're equipped to take on this degree or what you want to do with it. It really is an incredibly important part of the application, and our admissions committee really they put a lot of weight into this because of that, because it's your voice. And then your statement of purpose, similarly, it's meant for the committee to understand your public health interests. It's also a place for you to explain potentially any gaps in your resume or in your academic history. It's a place for you to talk about your goals, how you see yourself contributing to the field of public health or to the program. They're your words, and in a sense they're a little bit persuasive, right? They're there for the committee to better understand how this program makes sense for you as a potential candidate.
All right, so I'm going to take over the slide here to discuss personal history statement checklist. One of the things that we really value in the writing process is the opportunity to just kind of organize yourself before getting into the writing space. So a few tips here we gathered together are setting an introduction, body, conclusion. Keep in mind that your essays will be 1,000 words total per essay. So for the introduction, you want to set the context to your story. This really helps bring to life what you are trying to convey. And then the body will share formative experiences. And this can start at any point of what you prefer. It can be key experiences that have gradually happened through the years. It can be from a professional standpoint if you're making a career change. But some examples can be barriers, key moments, or exposures that have influenced your personal, academic, or professional growth. Reflect on what motivated you to pursue graduate school and why you feel prepared to take this next step. So a really a great way to share your story is letting us know, all of your experiences that make up who you are and what has been key motivators and how those experiences all shape your experiences to get to this point of pursuing graduate school. So if this aligns with you, you can address any gaps in your academic or professional history, as Elise mentioned, reasons for reapplying or re-entering education, and highlight how these experiences demonstrate your growth or motivation. One of the nice things about, and you'll hear motivation a lot throughout the essay, there's a theme here, but it's really that there is self-motivation goes a long way. I think in graduate school, there is a level of responsibility that you are taking ownership in, and we want to know that we're welcoming and creating a space that there's folks that want to learn from each other, that is open to taking in new material. So those are a part of that motivation. It's that your willingness to learn and willingness to be open-minded to new ideas and new concepts and try things. And it all helps to learn that through this essay. You may also connect your experiences to public health. Now, this is not required, but in many cases, a lot of times you'll have experiences that make you consider grad school, and those experiences will then take you to a point of wanting to concentrate in an area, right? So it's not necessarily required for you to talk about public health early in your personal history statement, but it's usually helpful if it feels relevant to your story. Conclusion. Your conclusion should have the reader with it should leave the reader with a better sense of your unique journey, your academic, personal, and professional maturity and connection to public health. So as we mentioned, there's going to be different factors that you'll want to share with us. So it can be from an academic standpoint, a professional standpoint, whatever you feel resonates with you most and you really want to convey to your reader, that should be included in your essay. And fortunately, on this call, we will actually be taking some excerpts. So Marcella was gracious enough to lend and share her essays. So we pointed out things that we really like. So in the next couple of slides, we'll be able to go through that to give you more context. So the example of the personal history statement in the introduction, mind you, this is not the full essay, but these are some things that may help you visualize her essay, and we'll start there. So first, I grew up in a small agricultural town called Marcella, I don't want to butcher it. Do you want to actually say your hometown?
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. It's called Nagarote,
Nagarote.
located
Okay.
in the western region of my homeland of Nicaragua.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Located in the western region of my homeland, Nicaragua. I was raised in a traditional Latinx family and was the youngest of 7 children, 5 of them half siblings. My parents divorced when I was 7 years old, but I feel blessed to have been raised in a large family that takes pride in hard work and embraces social responsibility. Moreover, my parents instilled in me a strong sense of community and the importance of contributing as a member of the society. And this is a really strong opening statement. We really loved this particular section of the application because this introduction we felt was effective because it quickly establishes a vivid foundational context by mentioning the applicant's unique geographic and familial origins, thus laying the groundwork for a personal narrative focused on hard work, social responsibility, and community values. So entering into this essay, we already kind of see certain key aspects about Marcella that is going to take us through the remainder of her essay. And just this, again, you can kind of see here, it humanizes the essays as well. It helps us see the applicant not as just a applicant with no, visual to it. We can start to kind of put pieces to the puzzle through their words. So that was a really great start there. And I wanted to ask you, Marcella, I have 2 questions for you. So the first is, how did you incorporate reflections and barriers or challenges that you faced? And why do you think those were important to include?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Stephanie. Well, because when I was reflecting on my upbringing and cultural pride, it felt essential to me to incorporate uh, where I come from and my culture. So, because they are core to my identity and the values I carry into my work. For instance, when I mentioned growing up in a traditional Latinx family and navigating the challenges of my parents being divorced, I was very intentional in that point that I wanted to highlight. Also, how that even though were difficulties, it also provided me with some resilience, empathy, and determination at early ages of my life. So I wanted also to share my motivation to follow my parents' role model and unwavering support that they always provided in our community.
Mhm.
And that served me as a role model as I grew up. So, and still, it continues to inspire me in my own values and purpose in public health.
Thank you so much for that. I think that will resonate a lot with many of folks on the call. You got to look within and take those key pieces with you. And I think it's a driver to a lot of why people are drawn to public health, and really exciting to see. This question is a little premature as it'll fit to the next slide, but I do want to just ask now, actually, how did you balance sharing personal stories while keeping the essay professional and focused?
Yeah, so well, I try to stay focused on sharing or choosing stories from my life that showed growth and connection. At the same time, like working in nonprofits, I think the next slide is going to show that, and leading workshops for immigrant students like myself when I was in community college. So those, my personal stories as an immigrant and volunteering in the community, being very proactive, and how those periods of my life align or tie back with my goals in the field of public health. So keeping that in mind as I wrote my statements was very helpful. So that also helped me for the essay to feel both heartfelt, sincere, and professional.
Love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So in the next part of the statement, we're moving on to the body here. And again, it was an exceptional essay. So thank you so much for sharing this with us. Moving forward, I was expected to get married at an early age because it was the cultural norm for a young woman and have children rather than pursue a professional career. Instead, I attended dental school and I specialized in orthodontics. Then I opened my practice in my hometown. While it is true that I chose a different path in my life to further my education and defy stereotypes of gender roles, I also wanted to help my community and have the opportunity to positively impact people's lives. The beginning of my career was challenging, a testament to a lived experience as a result of gender inequalities. That is to say, I was a recent graduate woman competing with mostly male and experienced colleagues who dominated the healthcare field. However, those challenges helped me fine-tune my top 3 signature strengths, such as determination, ethics, and a growth mindset, which became essential to the dedication that I put into my job and made me stand out. By showing great care for my patients and community, my practice thrived. And what we loved about this segment of the application is the body of the statement draws our attention to the applicant's strength. It centers on a powerful narrative of overcoming cultural and gender expectations, demonstrating the applicant's determination and commitment to both personal achievement and social contribution. We can't get enough of it. It's wonderful. So how did you decide which personal experiences to include in the body of your essay? Because you had a lot of examples to lean on. So how did you choose that?
Well, um, I did it. I chose them in a way that I could reflect uh, and highlight the experiences that really shaped who I am. Because as Alice and you, Stephanie, mentioned in the previous slide, this statement of personal history statement is a great opportunity to show, to share with the selection committee who I am as a person, as a woman, and whatever I have gone through in my life, any hardships or any experience that felt very meaningful, how that impacted my growth. And somehow also back then, even many years ago, my desire to contribute and my commitment to my community, even though that happened in a different country, but there was a strong sense of community coming from a small town. Yeah, so those periods that I chose to share personal stories reflect were very challenging. You can imagine a very young dentist just getting into a market that was highly concentrated just by male dentists was very, I think, was one of the most impactful experiences. But fortunately, yeah, showing care and fostering and developing some skills such as ethics and commitment for healthcare in community really helped me to grow. And yeah, so I wanted to share that. And these stories also felt very meaningful and true to the kind of impact I wanted to make in public health.
Love that. And then just to add to that, your statement did a great job, creating vivid descriptions, which made your statement easy to follow. Did you intentionally take that approach, to make your experiences come alive for the reader? What is a tip that you would provide an applicant that really struggles with writing?
Yeah, well, I wanted, before I answer your question, I just wanted to share that this moment feel very special to me. Being with you, sharing a space with you, we all are super committed with public health, especially during these challenging times. And I feel very moved and touched because it's like seeing like back then when the moment I wrote these statements and what has happened after that during this past year. So my journey has been anything but linear, as many of you. So I end up, after working as a dental assistant, I end up in a community college working as a tutor and mentoring students whose experience mirrored my own as an English learner and immigrant students. So that gave me an opportunity to really improve my writing skills also. And yeah, so I learned some techniques that are very helpful, and I would love to share with you, such as if you are struggling with writing these statements and feel a little bit overwhelmed. So I highly encourage you to practice free writing. Just write in a journal or in a notebook as your thoughts come to your mind without any judgment, just like your desires, your goals, your experience, anything. Another helpful tip is to write in a creative writing or in adding to your statements narrative elements such as plot, characters, settings. So that helps with reflecting those vivid parts of the essay. Another super helpful tip is creating outlines. So that really helps to stay focused on the key points that you want to include in your essay and keeps your story well organized with the topic sentences. Lastly, I highly recommend adding elements of cohesion, such as transitional words, and keep in mind that writing can be both therapeutic and healing. So it allowed us to process experiences, find meaning in challenges, and celebrate growth. So remember that the most powerful writing always starts from the heart. And I'm sorry if I took too long. I'm going to be brief in the next questions.
No, that's incredibly helpful, and I think this is exactly, what folks on the call are seeking. So please, anything that you can share, we really love to hear. And closing the personal history statement. Eventually, I got married and moved to California. While I intended to build a new family, I also wanted to continue putting into practice my skills in dental healthcare. Hence, I worked as a dental assistant for a few years. However, deep inside me, I felt as if something that gave an additional purpose to my life was missing. And evidently, the experience of becoming an immigrant has left a profound imprint on my heart. As time passed, I decided to go back to school, and this was a turning point in my life and career. Although I started my career in dentistry and orthodontics, I've gradually fallen in love with public health. Therefore, I want to transition from individualized care and clinical dentistry to a community-based and preventive approach. To conclude, my family upbringing, outstanding skills in the work field, and genuine care for human services are authentic expressions of my character and strong performance as a promising candidate for the MPH program. And this statement to us thoughtfully navigates a potential gap in the applicant's history, presenting it as a period of reflection, development, and renewed purpose. So I really valued the approach that you took because it didn't feel disconnected, but it really felt reflective as an overall point of where you're at and where you're going. So it For us, we thought it worked well because it addresses why now, it provided a clear logical pivot, and overall, it synthesized the entire personal narrative in that short closing space. So fantastic job. I'm going to move ahead and share the next slide with Elise.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. So we're going to switch gears and start talking about the second of the two essays that Berkeley requires, your statement of purpose. So we've compiled, Stephanie has compiled this lovely little checklist, which is a great place to start. We'll send out these slides, but this is an excellent tool to sort of it's very similar to what Marcella was describing, to sort of, a process that you can use to get the writing started, because sometimes getting started is the hardest part, right? So we have some notes here. Start with the writing strategy. So when you're thinking about your statement of purpose, everything you put in that essay should have a purpose. Does this sentence add value? How is it contributing to the overall message? Am I answering the prompt? Is the admissions committee learning something new about me or my goals? So it's something to keep in mind. You also want to think about program fit. So, at our admissions committee, they want to hear a little bit about why you see Berkeley Public Health as opposed to another school of public health. Is there a concentration that stands out to you? Is it something about the Berkeley ethos that you like? Tell us, why us, and why are you a good fit for us? You want to establish your personal and professional foundation in this essay as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about this. You're not necessarily rehashing your resume, but we want to have more context to your professional experiences. So, really establish, again, your personal and professional goals, the background, the training that you have. Give us more context and depth to what we get in your resume. I mentioned this as well, but your future goals, we definitely want to identify what you hope to accomplish by earning an MPH degree. A program justification. So why, again, not just what do you want to accomplish with an MPH degree, but why is an MPH degree the right degree to get you where you want to go? So tell us what your goal is and tell us how this degree specifically is going to get you there. Again, is there a specific skill you want to learn? Like maybe you really want biostatistics skills to get you to the career that you really want to have. Maybe it's that you really feel you need some like global health experience. So tell us specifically what it is that you're looking for. Timing and impact. Why now? So why this degree? And why this degree right now? What stage are you in your career? How is this going to unlock a next step for you? And then academic engagement. We'd love to hear if there are specific things about our curriculum that stand out to you, or maybe it's even a specific class you took previously that you think is going to set you up really well for the program. So tell us a little bit about the academic side of things as well. So we'll dive into some examples. So here we have another excerpt, and I'll go ahead and read it for you, and we'll talk about what makes this a really excellent intro for a statement of purpose. In essence, my experience as a healthcare provider and my involvement in community colleges, both as a student and as a tutor, motivates me to pursue a degree in public health. I want to dive deep into the dynamic of the social determinants of health. For those reasons, I'm interested in applying to the interdisciplinary concentration because I want to be part of an effort to advance inequalities, provoke the system to impel changes, and work on effective public health interventions to benefit vulnerable communities, including immigrants, especially women and children. So an amazing statement. And there's a couple key things I'll highlight that Marcella did here that are really, really helpful to our committee. So Marcella identified that she's interested in the interdisciplinary concentration. So definitely tell us what concentration you're interested in, why. And she linked that really well to, again, why that concentration, wanting to learn more about social determinants of health. She highlighted the impact that she hopes to have. and then identified a little more specifically what populations she really hopes to work with. So just a really great way to intro because we're learning already in this first paragraph, what she wants to study, what her goals are, and like specific things she wants to take away from her classes. All right. So we're going to dive into the body. Here's another example. So I aim to learn from different concentrations of public health and develop new skills in research, health education, disease prevention, and policies to better serve our communities. For instance, I'm looking forward to taking community health science courses like PHW 205, program planning, and PHW 206, maternal and child health nutrition. Courses like these will help me learn basic concepts and strategies that will serve as a resource in my ongoing efforts to promote health, especially amongst the most vulnerable groups. So again, a really strong statement because it's identifying very specific classes that that they hope to learn from and how they hope to apply those in the future. So I have a question for Marcella on this section. Thinking about your experience writing, were there moments when you had to cut or revise experiences to make the narrative more focused? And how did you choose what to keep?
Thank you, Alice, for the question. Should I respond that question based on this example or in general?
Either way, I'll leave it up to you, but maybe just thinking about your statement of purpose at large, how did you kind of decide what to keep in and what to focus on?
Okay, well, thank you. So I decided on it was challenging because there are so many things that I wanted to share and so many about my vision in public health. So I try to stay focused on the moment, in the present of the application. Yes, I did share, I think, almost at the end of the essay, my long-term goals and how I envision myself working in public health. But right now, at this moment, and especially in this specific example, I wanted to connect, like to prove, to demonstrate how the classes, the courses, and the concentration that I wanted to apply connected to those short-term goals and my purpose in applying to this program. So that's another thing that I highly recommend prospective applicants to explore the concentration. I mean, to have an idea, explore every single course. And I appreciate because I remember also in these several meetings, advising appointments I have with Stephanie, that was one part of the feedback and was really helpful. So yeah, that's.
That's great. Thank you so much, Marcella. And I'm so happy that to hear that you took advantage of meeting with Stephanie a lot throughout the process also. We definitely encourage that for folks on the call as well.
The example of a statement of purpose closing. In light of professional training, UC Berkeley is one of the top universities in the country, and the School of Public Health is widely recognized as a top-notch program with vast research opportunities and outstanding training for academia. Another consideration for choosing UC Berkeley is that the university culture aligns with my career goals and my core values, and I'd like to be a part of an institution whose environment will help me thrive. My goals are to empower people to have better health outcomes, join efforts to improve health policies to benefit vulnerable groups in our community, and create a more equal society. I want to give back to my community and continue to make a positive impact. I would like to stay involved in education and academia, and I plan to further my education in dental public health. My long-term goal is to apply to the dental public health program at UCSF or CDC's headquarters. And what I love about this is the applicant outlines their goals so well and highlights focus and direction. Their tone of their essay feels very inspiring, and it doesn't just summarize their collective thoughts, but it really leaves the reader confident that this applicant will continue to grow, lead, and contribute meaningfully to the field of public health. There's an emotion that you can feel just through the words of Marcella. So well done, and I hope that this is useful to your writing. Let us know if you have any questions.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Um, and I think, and I'll just say that I think you did that really well in that statement, like understanding that pivot from dentistry to public health, I think is like really well done in that essay. And I'll just share as well for folks. Yeah, we've said it before, and Marcella just said it as well. But yeah, this is such a great tool for addressing any like career pivots that you might be making also. So some overarching points that we want to leave you with is to avoid repeating job history by listing your experiences. So we will see your resume, we have that on hand. So, we don't necessarily need like a chronological rehashing of every position that you've had. Again, focus on providing more context and a narrative that explains, as we mentioned, any career pivots that you might be making. Any, goals that you have, that sort of thing. We also don't want to assume that the admissions committee will make connections on your behalf. So, using acronyms or referencing something in your resume without giving like some more context. We don't want to, yeah, we don't want to just leave it up to the reader to make those connections because you don't necessarily know the order that they're reviewing. They might read your essays first and then read your resume, or, you might say, when I was in undergrad and make a reference to a degree without actually naming the degree that you or what you studied in undergrad. So don't leave it up to the admissions committee to make those connections on your behalf. Be explicit in your essay. And then don't rush the writing process. So if you're someone who's considering applying for fall, it's so great that you're here because you have time to work on these essays. So, give yourself time to do what Marcella suggests, to do some of that free writing. You could maybe make an outline and give yourself a lot of time for revisions, to have other individuals read and review your essays. The more time you give yourself, the easier this process will feel. So some do's. Remember that your two essays, your personal history statement and statement of purpose, are distinct and different. So it can be tempting to sort of rehash some of the same stories or information, but make sure that they are unique. Again, I'm mentioning this is sort of valuable real estate on your application. So we want to make sure that the two different essays are giving us new information about you. And ensure that you're using the prompts. It's really good to go back and reread the prompts as you're writing to make sure that you're addressing the prompts with your essays. Take time to draft out an initial brainstorm, have at least one or two readers offer feedback. Keep your writing clear, concise, and coherent by making every statement count. And formatting, we prefer Arial or Times New Roman and size 12 font. All right, so I'll hand it back to Stephanie to wrap us up.
Sounds good. Thank you, Elise. So important dates to consider and keep in mind are the application deadline. There is going to be there are two options for you to consider depending on when you want to apply. For fall of 2026, there is a priority application deadline to submit your application. That will be on January 5th. And there is also a final deadline to submit your application. So if you can't make that priority deadline, no worries. We will keep the application open until March 2nd. And the application portal will close at 8:59 Pacific time. So keep these dates in mind to ensure that you don't miss out on that. And then for spring 2027, we do not have a priority deadline, but we'll keep the application open until August 3rd. The application portal will also close at 8:59 Pacific time. And if you have any questions throughout the process, please reach us at online.mph@berkeley.edu. I host one-on-one advising appointments via Zoom, by phone, and we have upcoming events that we would love to have you join. Our next one is Health Policy and Management. So it's an MPH info session, which is unique because this will be a joint info session between the online MPH admissions team as well as the in-residence senior program manager that represents the Health Policy and Management program. So if you're interested in that field, but you are unclear if you're which program is the right fit for you, that's a perfect information session to check out. It'll be held Thursday, October 23rd at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And please follow our socials. We're active on LinkedIn, Instagram. And if you want to check more information out on our students, we have features on Marcella on our website as well. So there's many ways to see what's happening in our active community. But with that said, I wanted to just say thank you again for making time to connect with us. I'm going to pause this recording and open it up for Q&A. Marcella, thank you so much for joining us as well. And I hope that everyone on the call or the recording finds this information very helpful.